What's one of the dumbest things you've ever spent money on? Chef Boyardee beefaroni. One summer, because I was hella bored, I bought some Chef Boyardee beefaroni and put it in my friend's mailbox as a prank. He didn't find it, but his parents did, and they asked their neighbors who did it. He suspected me at first, but I managed to get him off of my tail. Now our neighborhoods were fairly close to each other, so I could be over there in a 50-minute walk. Every night, I walked up to their neighborhood. Walking anywhere at 2 am is creepy as hell, but the Boyardee bandit does not stop for demons and put a can of beefaroni inside their mailbox. After about a month, they call the police to find out who's putting beefaroni in their mailbox. Luckily the police really didn't care that much and just told them to get a camera, which they eventually did. Meanwhile my friend is telling me all of this from his perspective. Right, so I usually know what they do before I strike. So I start covering my face and pretend to hunch over. I have no idea where this camera is, so I can never be too careful. They call the cops again and give them a profile, and now the cops are looking for a crippled beefaroni bandit. After a solid 3 months of this chiz, one of the baggers at the store gets word somehow and starts getting suspicious because he sees me buying tons of beefaroni. He confronts me, I tell him the truth, and I chiz you not he starts helping me beefaroni my friend's house. We're putting it all over, hiding it in the lawns, porch, fence, you name it. Halloween rolls around, and I dress up as Chef Boyardee. I go to my friend's house and say, your daily subscription to Chef Boyardee beefaroni has ended. Would you like to renew? I hear laughter in the background, and it's the store clerk. Turns out he recently started dating best friend's sister, and that's how he heard. Truth be told, I don't think I've ever been punched harder than when my friend found out. Good times. We still laugh about it from time to time. TLDR. Bought and hid Chef Boyardee beefaroni for nearly half a year around my best friend's house. The beefaroni bandit strikes again. Sounds like a ticky off on the pineapple green text. When I was like 14, I bought a pack of intentionally mismatched socks that were really expensive. Like, only one of each pattern. Could have bought twice as many normal socks and just mismatched them myself. I did this too, but to make it worse I bought 2 packs so that I could match them. When I went on a school field trip to Washington DC back in middle school, I bought a $2 bill at a souvenir shop for $20. SMH. That's a shame they practically scammed a kid for 18 bucks. I bought a timeshare. Look, if you're still not comfortable with the numbers, you just double down. You get 2 weeks, sell that second week, boom, you're vacationing for free. I was drunk and bought Monster Ballads off an infomercial. And I paid an extra $20 for rush delivery because I was drunk and needed it ASAP, and it showed up a month later. I've always wanted to meet someone who bought music off an infomercial. This is a big thrill for me. A copy of Cory in the House for the Nintendo DS, except FO $30 in 2019. Edit, math gang antics involved. Bold move. I was just a few weeks out of basic training and bought one of those family lineage with the shields on it and description. I blew $500 or so bucks just to find out it wasn't even accurate. Lol, clag boot. I spent $40 one of those amusement park booths where you had to throw darts at balloons. For some reason, I picked out this really ugly 7 feet tall frog stuffed animal. It's in the corner of my closet and still scares me when I'm half awake in the morning. I had one of those from Six Flags. I won it early in the day and my dad was so pissed. I named his Froggy McCopperstein and kept him for over 10 years. My mom finally got rid of him, saying she couldn't spare that much space for him anymore. RIP. I bought a make-it-yourself music box with a series of cards to punch out the notes and then insert so you can play whatever tune you want. Thought I could make my GF a special gift. Then I realized that I can't read music, and when I tried to punch it by ear it sounded bloody awful. Edit, you see, this is why I love Reddit so much. A whole heap of helpful messages and comments, and just 6 hours later I can now make something that is vaguely recognizable. Here you go Reddit. You earned this. Thanks everyone. I have one of these, and it's sweet. Google Music Box tabs or MIDI converter and 12 pin. You can get a few great songs that are easy to punch and play well. Or, you upload a MIDI file, and it converts for you. Good luck. I once went to a novelty/thrift shop that had a ton of random cheese. Ended up spending $10 on a framed picture of Count Dooku, Darth Sidious and Jango Fett from Star Wars, since my GF thought it was funny. The frame recently broke, and I found out, after seeing the back of the picture, it was from a calendar when Attack of the Clones came out. Someone just cut this picture out of an old calendar, put it in a frame, and my dumber voluntarily spent $10 on it. You bought the frame. Ed had a few drinks, TGIF, and wandered into a Williams-Sonoma store in a state of euphoria. There I saw a special edition KitchenAid stand mixer made in bronze that was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It was on sale for $999.00. Naturally, I bought it, but because I'm a single guy who doesn't bake, it's just taking up much needed counter space. No time like the present to learn. A pocket pussy. It was back when me and my wife were still dating. We were out of town for a concert, a festival, or maybe just the weekend, and there was this big, heavily advertised and kinda posh adult shop just a block or two down the road from a hotel. The last day of our trip, we didn't have anything planned, so we ended up going into this shop. They had a whole floor devoted to dildos and vibrators, and my wife found one she really liked. I started joking around about how they have all these toys for women and nothing for guys, and one of the shop employees overheard. He brought us up to the third floor and showed us this large-ish section that was all duck toys. It was like 4 whole rows, each one 20 foot long, packed to the brim with silicone pussy. They had feet with pussies, hands with pussies, tits with and without pussies, headless and limbless torsos, mouths of all variety, and a whole line of head to toe, life-size duck dolls. Most of it was really expensive, but I managed to find this one that had a glove attached to a pussy and a hole for like $40. So I bought it. We paid for our purchases and went back to the hotel to have fun. My wife really liked her toy, and after a while she asked if I wanted to use mine. I thought about it for just a second and then said no. We had our fun, packed up the next morning and left. I stuck the pocket pussy on our coffee table to mess with some friends who were coming over the next day. After the friends left, it ended up in the back of our closet and stayed there through a move-in more than a decade, until my 6-year-old found it last November. Purchased to traumatize your future children. The blanket that makes you look like a giant burrito. It was super thin and of poor quality, not to mention not big enough to cover me. Now it'll never look like a burrito. As an owner of this burrito blanket, yes, it is small, but it is very soft and very comfortable. There was this guy named Don Lapper who sold money making kits, like how to make money with clarified ads. I think I invested about $350 and received literally nothing of value. I was young and being stupid. Looked him up tonight to remember how to spell his name. Turns out he killed himself with a razor blade while in jail in 2011. I have to say, his TV commercials were very convincing. Thankfully at the time I was young and broke, so I couldn't pay for his nonsense. If I had enough room on my credit card, I would have. I finally figured out that he implied lots of income, but the testimonials only talked about revenues. I bought a pager. The clip snapped. I took it to where I bought it. We only cover the pager, not the case. I walked outside right in front of the window and spiked the chiz out 8F it. Walked back inside and said my pager is broken. Did it work? I was pretty high one night and bought a pull net handle, one of the 16-foot metal ones, in order to turn off the living room lights from the couch. Edit. Added these as a comment, but it got buried. Sorry, I've been sleeping, haha. I'll try and answer all the questions I've seen. Most importantly, it does work. It's heavy when fully extended, but there's a rail I can balance it on between me and the light. Takes a bit of practice. I also do remember thinking about getting smart lights, but honestly I'm renting this house and it's a wall switch, so I didn't want to take it apart to make it smart. For $25, I can't say I regret this one. It sits behind my couch in a little gap, so it's not too much of an eyesore. I haven't broken anything yet. Emphasis on yet. I'm sure I will. No, I don't have a pool. Edit 3. I didn't buy smart bulbs and won't in the future because it's 10 bulbs on racks. cheap, easy, and I was high. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Does it work? Because I need to know. I was 11 and my dad gave me 50 bucks to spend at the mall. So, I wandered into a gift shop and spent it all on an electronic vibrating oinking pink pig. I never played with it after I brought it home. Tried to return it, only to be offered store credit. You taught your father a valuable lesson in financial responsibility. A 155 pack of condoms. A week after I had a vasectomy. Complete brain dead moment. Oh, a fellow Costco customer. My brother bought that pack for his study abroad in Europe. He came back with 155 condoms. Got drunk and started ordering ninja gear off of Amazon and forgot about it until it showed up like a week later. Swords, nunchucks, a suit and mask. Please send photos, that's hilarious. Most expensive dumb thing. A Mercedes 500 cell. Literally bankrupt myself buying parts and gas for that ducking land yacht. Sold it for half what I paid and felt lucky to be rid of it. Dumbest dumb thing. A metallic gold laden painting of a Pontiac Firebird. It uses white trash, and I had planned on putting it in a family gift exchange as a joke, but didn't end up going, and got stuck with it. It's currently hanging in a storage room, like all clay paintings do. Hang it in your garage so all your neighbors see it whenever you open your garage. When I was 19, I got a construction job that paid fairly well. Stupid me got all hot and horny for a fun car. I signed up for a 5-year loan after test driving the first one. I ended up having engine failure almost 2 years later. Because it was a used car and from a shady used car dealer, the warranty was well expired. I couldn't afford to get a new engine for it, so I ended paying over 3 years for a car that I wasn't driving. Edit. Since I've been getting messages and replies saying it's your fault, you didn't maintain the car. That car was my baby. I worked on it every day and loved it for the short period of time I had it. Now, this car had what is called a Wankel rotary. These are not reliable engines. The apex seals blow as they are basically as thick and durable as the graphite in a pencil. Mazda RX-8s are notoriously unreliable. I did not know this 8 years ago as I hadn't done much research. The more you know. If you want to prove how tough you are, this is not the place. I do not care. I had fun with my car and learned a lot from the experience. And if you think this is the dumbest thing I have ever done, you're very wrong. Edit 2. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. I wish I could turn it into money to soften the financial blow of this vehicle, but alas, Reddit Premium is a close second. You got roped in like a junior enlisted member. Big wedding. All that money. Cold helped so many problems we had later. Divorced anyway. Feeling this one. Got into debt for my wedding. Struggled financially for 10 years because we could never get arches together. Then divorced. Only just now getting financially comfortable. 12 years and 1 divorce after the wedding. Deleted. Get a box, tupper, or tin with lid. Put all the toys inside with some catnip. When you want to play with your cat, just take one toy and lend it to it. They'll love it again. When you see they don't use it anymore, return it to the box so it re-impregnates with the catnip. Be careful, the receptacle should be insulated if you don't want your cat to find all the toys plus catnip. Edit. Spelling. This past Christmas Eve I was doing some last minute shopping and came across a wine glass shaped like Buddy from the movie Elf, which of course also had Will Ferrell's face on it. With everything kinda being out of order with the holiday rush, I didn't know how much it cost, but I bought it on pure impulse because I thought it was funny. It wasn't until I left the store and looked at the receipt did I realize that it cost $22, which is way more than it's worth. To remind me of my mistake, I now drink out of that glass exclusively and have been for the past 5 months. I have to wash it like twice a day, but I won't stop using it until I feel like I've gotten my $22 worth. Can we see it? ShamWow. I mean, it's got sham right there in the name. But I wanted to support Vince from ShamWow's crusade against Scientology. Should have bought the Jizzle instead. YouTube. I bought a cat eye stencil off Amazon that's supposed to help with liquid eyeliner application because my hands are shaky as duck. Didn't check the reviews. It's a crappy piece of plastic shaped like a cat that breaks really easy, apparently. I wouldn't know. I bought it a week ago drunk, and it's shipping from China with an estimated arrival of July 27th. Edit. Literally saved every bit of advice for my attempts tomorrow. Thanks all. OMG, I bought that thing last year. It's such a stupid product. Tried it twice before giving up. Turns out huge cat-shaped pieces of plastic don't exactly fit into the corners of hooded eyes. Both times I looked like it let my dog try to do my macup. A Himalayan salt lamp. Useless, but aesthetically pleasing. I have one in my kid's bedroom. It has a great dimmable switch that can be turned way low, and it becomes a very pleasant warm glowing night light for my children. I go in and turn it off after they've fallen asleep. I think it looks cool. Also, my kids lick the thing sometimes. Got that inflatable dinosaur costume. Wore it once around my campus and now I forgot where it is. I ducking love those. First time I ever saw one was Halloween 5 or so years back. I was doing some late night grocery shopping. The dinosaur was hobbling through the produce section. Something about watching it trying to grab lettuce with its tiny arms just made me lose it. I got a bad case of the giggles standing in line, which turned out to be contagious. Still crack up when I think about it. My friends and I randomly decided to get into paintballing one year. My first visit to a paintball shop, I apparently felt like flexing my brand new I have a job and no bills because I live with my parents' income, so I dropped about $400 on a paintball gun that looked like an AK-47, the way a Nerf pistol looks like a Glock. We did a few practice fights with each other, then went to a paintball field that weekend. The bell rang, the fight started, I ran out, aimed at a guy, gun jammed, and I got shot in the head, just above the part my mask was covering. That gun never fired again, and I ended up replacing it with a cheap Tipman 98 Custom, which as far as I understand, is the vanilla sherbet of paintball guns. It worked, but we stopped paintballing forever after like 2 months. So I guess the second gun was also one of the dumbest things I spent money on. If it broke the first time you used it, why didn't you return it? I bought my oldest a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. You see, that's the problem. Once you learn to dance like one, you'll attract 50% more attention without buying anything. Connie 2012. Oh man, is it Connie 2012? I have an official Connie 2012 shirt in my closet. I bought it for $1 at a thrift store in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't the dumbest $1 I've ever spent. Gifts for my mother. She complains every single time. I bought my parents a new smart TV for Christmas after they'd been compliant about their old one and how much of a hail it was watching things like Netflix. The TV is still in the box. Shampoo. I'm bald. Doesn't mean you don't need shampoo. Who doesn't want their homegrown hairy man sweater to be lush and shiny? My quarantine shopping recently led to me purchasing a manatee shaped tea infuser. As the proud owner of my own manatee infuser, I'm offended. It's one of the best things I've ever bought. Boxes. I never save them and toss them in recycling. Well, moving time came around and I was in need of many boxes. So I spent more money than I would like to admit of cardboard and bubble wrap. Most boxes aren't anything special, and generally you don't need to keep them. The one exception I have made is a box of my TV. I read a moving tip on Reddit actually, to keep your TV box, so it makes moving your TV that much easier. A few months later I snag a TV for like 40% off from a going out of business sale, and kept the box and styrofoam that came with it, and yeah, moving it was a breeze. $10 plus delivery fee for a $8 meal. The one and only time I ever used DoorDash, spent $40 something for 8 pieces of chicken. I ordered the 12-piece family meal since I just got out of the hospital and figured it could be no effort meals for 2 to 3 days. Ended up with no sides, no biscuits, and 2/3 of the chicken. They had the tracking thing showing and everything was running right on time until the driver left the store and went north instead of south. Okay, no biggie, figured they had other deliveries, but then it showed them in the same spot for almost an hour. They came straight from there to my house, claimed they got lost and couldn't find my house, claimed the store wouldn't give them the full order. At that time I didn't know the stores didn't know they had ED. They are just a customer going through the drive-thru and told me to call the restaurant for a refund. So like an idiot I call the store and they have no clue what I'm talking about. I try to contact DoorDash, but they just did an auto-responsive here's a $1 credit to your account, not even back to my credit card, but toward a future order. And when I tried to contact them again I got a pop-up saying the issue had been previously resolved, so it wouldn't allow for another complaint. I ended up disputing all but an 8-piece chicken only price, because by that time I realized it was the driver who screwed me over and not DoorDash or the store. That's the only time I've ever not tipped a delivery driver. A tiny alarm clock. Smaller than my hand. It actually functions pretty well though, so it's a good travel alarm. As long people don't get suspicious about the ticking noise coming from your bag. Also a great way to hide the sound of the bomb inside your bag. Airport security officer. Actually, throwers don't worry about ticking cause modern bombs don't tick. Narrator. Sorry, throwers? Airport security officer. Baggage handlers. But when a suitcase vibrates, then the throwers gotta call the police. Narrator. My suitcase was vibrating? Airport security officer. 9 times out of 10 it's an electric razor. But every once in a while, looks around, leans in conspiratorially. It's a dildo. Leans back, of course. It's company policy never to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. We have to use the indefinite article, a dildo. Never, your dildo. I absolutely loved her, but the Great Dane I had was dumb. I'm talking so ducking irredeemably dumb that she would regularly smash face first into walls chasing flies and run right into a closed door, not see-through, when I asked if she needed to go out. She was a sweet loving good girl. I love my Great Dane, but she is also a complete idiot. Yesterday I watched her accidentally pick up a rock instead of her bone and then bark at it for 10 minutes because she couldn't understand how it had changed from a tasty treat to a lump of stone. The Uber Eats delivery fee for an entire dozen cookies from Great American Cookie. I live less than half a mile away, but I was lazy and I wanted those goddamn cookies at like 10 PM. They were glorious, and I don't want to think about the calories I consumed that night. My therapist was kind enough to let me know about insomnia cookies. I live in one of their delivery area and they deliver fresh cookies until 2 AM. Now my husband wants to order them all the time. I do too, but I know it's not a good idea. Cigarettes. Smoke-free 4 years. Alcohol. Sober 28 years. 28 years. Damn. Congrats. Bumpits. Totally forgot those existed until about a week ago. Those things look dumb in the commercial. Can't imagine how they were in reality. This thing Susan Summers was pitching on QVC at 3 AM 15 years ago to help avoid getting wrinkles on your face. I was up all crazy hours with a newborn at the time, so a bit delirious. It was some electrical impulse mini machine for approximate $150. Susan looked fantastic and said she hadn't ever had plastic surgery and had just used this little machine on her face her whole life. I believed it, spent the money, and when it arrived 3 weeks later I never even took it out of the box to use it. Oddly, this makes me feel better about those infomercials. Like somehow the idea of their target demographic being sleep deprived new moms is less disturbing than the idea of somebody sitting in their living room, sober as a judge, executing their most sound judgment, thinking yes the Joan Rivers collection, yes it shall be mine. Story time. Warning. Long when I was younger I used to manage a phone store for one of the 4 major cell phone companies. One day, a dude in his 20s walks in real nervous like and asks to pay his phone bill. One of my employees is helping him, and I'm not paying too much attention until I hear a "huh, that's weird" from my employee. I turn to look, and he is holding a $100 bill and looking at it closely. He then says, "I've never seen one like this," marks it with a counterfeit pen, and it doesn't turn brown. He then says, "Looks good to me," and opens the till to get change. I curiously intervene and look at the bill to see what was so interesting, and it just all looked off. The feel of the paper wasn't right, the color was off and none of the ink was embossed, it was all flat. It was also a blue note $100, which at the time was somewhat new. I noticed the strip in it nice and straight, and luckily I had bought the store a flashlight a few weeks before to make sure the bathrooms were completely clean for customers. I shine the flashlight on the bill and nothing is up on it. I mark it again with the pen and notice that the corner I marked it on is peeling and was poorly glued. I tell the kid the bill is counterfeit and that I cannot return it to him and must phone the police. He was very flustered and said sorry and left. Cue the Karen. 10 minutes later, a lady with an angled blonde bob haircut, wearing raised flip-flops, with 2 toe rings, a bunch of Alex and Annie bracelets, a sleeveless blouse, showing her weird yet small tattoo, walks in with sunglasses on, and furiously approaches one of the desks. I'm standing there with 2 of my coworkers, and one of them had already said welcome to store name. What can we do for you? She now is directly in front of us, lifts her sunglasses, looks at all 3 of us up and down, puts her phone, keys and small purse on the counter, then puts both hands on there, leans forward and says, which one of you? Something along the lines of, insignificant retarded, minimum wage workers help my son? Before I could even say anything, the first employee who helped her son just bursts out laughing to the point of where he literally had tears flowing down his face in a matter of what seemed to be a millisecond. The Karen is ducking bewildered. I immediately say, who is your son, mom? And she, ducking, loses her chiz never to find it again. She goes, mom, I'm a state employee. I demand to know who kicked my son, name, out and took his $100 that I just got from X bank. I said, mom, your son gave us a counterfeit bill. You should be thankful I don't call the police. The bill is with us, and I will personally drop it off to the nearest bank. At this moment, Karen is ducking, evolving. I've never seen anyone get so angry in my entire life. She ducking goes into some type of autistic rant and demands her money back, to which I say no can do. Cue the I need to speak the ducking manager. Write me a hoo when this is the moment I'm so ducking proud of. I said certainly, please don't report me. I was just doing my job. And she goes, you aren't going to have one soon, you Spanish racist term. I'm not even Spanish, but worse. I'm an Arab. A Muslim Arab. I walk to the back room where the manager is, lol, take off my tie, and at this point the employee who was first laughing is behind the backroom door. I told him to leave when he first laughed, and ducking loses his chiz again and is on the floor literally struggling to breathe. I feared that he may go into cardiac arrest or worse, never laugh this hard again. I tell him to pull himself together and come witness our doomsday. He tells me I should put his eyeglass on, so I do. I walk out with him and I say, hello mom, I'm the Spanish racist term manager, and I'm actually not Spanish, I'm a Muslim, an Arab. How can I be of assistance? Cue Godzilla metamorphosis. Karen ducking discovered a new form of duckery, a felony. Karen pushes our monitors on the ground, all 3 on that counter, takes this little Android plastic bobblehead thing we had on the counter and whips it at me, hits me in the chest. She whips her keychain lanyard at me, keys first like a whip, and hits my hand, cutting me just a little, spits on my coworker, and during all this she is going Super Saiyan. She is fully enraged and is on fire, so much so that I'm pretty sure all the solar panels on every house in the state were overperforming. My employees both are laughing yet trying to stop her with their words. Help me, you ducks, I'm a good boss. One of them calls the police, which miraculously arrive in like 4 minutes. By that time, she had pulled nearly every phone off of their displays, right out of the security alarm cord, and smashed them, or thrown them at one of us. Oh yeah, she smashed 4 out of our 8 55-inch TVs. I'm not leaving, and want to be abused as much as possible to rack the charges up. Cue the police. I see the cops arrive, with just their lights on, and I don't say anything. I just keep getting stuff hurled at me, and broken in my store. The police at first were walking calmly, then jogging, then full on sprinting. They accidentally broke the glass door, pulling it open so hard actually. Karen turns around and just screeches at them at the top of her lungs, and ducking charges them. By the way, her flip-flops weren't on and were found being the counter later on. I'm pretty sure she threw them at me or my employees. One of the officers was a woman, and ducking takes her down to with the most brutal tackle I've ever seen. Now on the ground, Karen is flailing like a ducking octopus, screaming like a siren, and gets her shirt and bra ripped entirely off as the cops are trying to pin her while she's resisting arrest. I'm watching a little too close, as are my employees, and the guy cop looks at me and says back up, and then yells taser taser tarzap tick 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 tick. Karen is ducking planking so hard right now. They cuff her stupid A. Pick her up. She's still screaming. Her son is outside watching, in ducking horror, looking so embarrassed. Cops take her in their car, and as they're doing that, like 3 other cop cars show up. Cops now want a report and I give them the whole story, show them my battle scars, and offer them the store camera footage from 4 angles lol. They take the fake $100 and then go over to her son and ask him questions outside. They don't arrest him. After the cops leave, the son comes inside and I was like, please leave sir, we are closed, and he just says, I'm so sorry, she made me do it. I'm really sorry, what can I do to help, etc. I talk with him briefly, only to find out Karen's government employee job was at one of the DMVs. The store was closed for 2 weeks. Karen was in the paper. Karen got several counts of aggravated assault, battery charges, counterfeit charges, resisting arrest, assault on a police officer, and a whole mess of destruction of property and other charges. I had to go to court, as did my employees, and testify. Karen got several years in jail. Anyway, this one time I bought a panini maker and it's pretty much ruined my life, because almost all I eat are paninis now. Edit. Made paragraphs lol, sorry, and also thank you so much for the awards. That is very kind of all of you who upvoted and awarded this. I never knew a comment about a panini maker would make you all so happy. I read this whole damn thing completely forgetting what the original question was. I used to also work for one of the 4 wireless providers and this story was just too fun to read. You drew me in, and I hate you for it a little. Priority shipping during COVID quarantine. I just wanted to see if it would arrive, but I'm still waiting on that order I placed in early March. Can't you cancel it? If you charged it to a credit card, you can probably reverse the charge, saying you never received the product. I once bought my girlfriend a hat and had her name embroidered on it. She asked me if I would ever wear a shirt with my name on it. I would not. My wife's big Christmas gift to me this year was a curly straw that spells out my entire 6-letter name. It's useless, tacky, takes up a lot of space because it's fragile and shaped weird, and nothing I had ever insinuated I wanted. I don't even have a regular curly straw. Why would I want one so big as to be useless? I was frankly heartbroken. I have no idea what to do with a curly straw, or how long I have to keep it around before I can throw it away. I told her 100 times that all I wanted was a Switch. December 26th, I bought myself one and named it Curly Straw in the settings. I spent about $10 on premium currency for a T-Mobile game one time about 8 to 9 years ago. I still feel ashamed now. Edit. For anyone interested, this is a pretty interesting read regarding the maths and psychology behind free-to-play/premium currency-based mobile games. Insert credit. I bought like 2 promotional cars in Rocket League like 2 years ago for $1.99 each, and I still feel like a dumber, but come on. One was a dealer in. My ex was working the Disney college program, and she had just graduated. She was making very little money. We were together for about 6 months. During that time I paid for countless meals, gas, traveling around to do stuff, different dates, movies, zoos, etc., hotels, Airbnbs, gifts. There were even times where I would Venmo her money so she could put gas in her car. Now, I can honestly say that I didn't regret a single penny that I spent because I loved her during the time we were together. At the end of the program she moved back home and broke up citing distance. We talked a few months later and she mentioned how she had gotten us into Disney with her P's a few times. Like it was a favor to me. I don't know. I still feel cheesy about it and regret dipping into my savings for what turned out to be someone who took me for granted. I'm a teacher, so she wasn't a gold digger, but possibly a pirate digger. This year I paid $60 for a Shrek action figure wearing an Aska racing suit at a thrift store. I'm gonna need to see a source. Like, right now. I dropped $1,000 on my Nazi German Shepherd puppet from the TV show Danger 5. I got it at an auction the producers of the show put on a couple of years ago, and I don't think a lot of people would be dumb enough to drop $1,000 on a puppet. For those of you unfamiliar with the show, it's a hilarious Australian comedy about a group of spies who are trying to kill Hitler, but the show, at least the first season, is shot like it's from the 1960s. Here are some of the scenes featuring my puppet and a bonus video of my puppet watching himself. How dare you insinuate that this was a dumb purchase? Deleted. Meet up with each and every one of those 70 and explain your situation. Make sure it's clear to them why this girl matters. Recruit them to your cause. Imagine it. 70 men, women, swingers, underage kids and bot accounts perusing picture after picture, seeking out the woman of your dreams. One might have a hit and screenshot it to you. A second screenshot from a corroborating source means confirmation achieved. Then, Operation Triangle begins. Each match spreads to a predetermined map point aligning to a square grid with 1 mile increments. Each one then records the distance they are showing to the girl's profile. Yes, the process is called triangulation, and you should only need 3 reference points to find the girl, but Tinder rounds distances. We have to overcome, setting their distances to kilometers. To get better rounding resolution, each person records their distance and it's all fed into a computer system. The machine interprets these inputs, e.g., 7 kilometers away, as truly representing 5 kilometers of actual distance, and constructs a torus of possible zones your girl would occupy. The overlay of all the tour users generates a heat map, and that heat map is truly nothing more than a treasure map. A flower company is automatically given the coordinates of the hottest spot, and dinner reservations are made. You meet the girl as the flowers are delivered into your hands, and then the two of you are ushered into the restaurant where Thomas Selly paws away at the accordion while he sips his deep red wine. She'll smile, and she'll kiss you right then and there, as 70 men and women and children and bots applaud, and cheer and hoot and holler. They've done it. Today, they've managed to make the world a better place. It's amazing what we can accomplish when 70-person orgy is promised. In-app purchases. I once blew $1,000 on a mobile game. Same. My guild was kicking seriouser in the war events and my husband was guild leader. We went all in, spent a bunch of money so we could make top tier. Game announced they were all done the next day, no refunds. Has nobody noticed the fact there is hundreds of awards on this post? I'm pretty sure a tiny sticker for someone you've never met is the dumbest thing you can spend money on all the same. Here's my poor person award. Paid $59 on a strapless adhesive bra edit. This is not really a bra, but more like 2 silicone cups with a sticky side. Most of those are worth $10-20. Mine was really sticky but it offers absolutely no support, so it makes the bra absolutely pointless. Duckula center. Expensive bras for a cheap quality. Bras in general are ridiculously expensive. That's the average normal price where I am, so I refuse to buy any unless there's some kind of sale. I bought a Kirby vacuum. They got me hook, line, and sinker. I've wasted money before, but this is one thing I always go back to, and I'm actually ashamed of. Like, I fell for their whole sales pitch. It was like $2,500 for a damn vacuum. I was on a payment plan for a vacuum. They have a shampooer attachment. It blows as a shampooer. You can take the handle off, and you sit on the stairs. It's still fkin heavy and annoying. It has a transmission that makes it easier to go across the carpet, but when it decides not to play nice it takes like 8 times the effort to get a room done. Oh, and the way the attachments works is a whole annoying ordeal. Please, for the love of everything holy and pure, go to Walmart and get a vacuum. You can replace a lot of carpet for what one of those Kirby abominations will cost you. Edit. Not Kirby the fun-loving pink bubble from Nintendo that we all know and love. Oh man. I have a story about these vacuums. Once upon a time somebody came to my door and asked if I wanted to put my name in a free radio station raffle. I said sure. A few weeks later someone called to inform me I had won a free upholstery cleaning. Yay, I guess. Some dude came to my house with one of those abominations and proceeded to suck the dirt from my couch and mattress. But from the moment he walked in it was clear that this was a sales pitch, which made me uncomfortable. The guy was so ducking insistent This took place during the most economically stressful time in my life. My son was 3, and I was on welfare, as was basically everyone else I knew. Peak Great Recession. No way was I taking on another bill. I straight up told the guy, "Mister, I'm flat broke. I can't even afford the bills I already have. I had to get my dad to pay the electric bill this month. There is no way I can afford this vacuum." He continued to insist that I would be saving money in the long term by saving money on carpet treatments and wear and tear on my furniture. That it was only $59 a month or whatever, and maybe my dad could help me with that too. I had to tell him absolutely not several times before he accepted it was hopeless and left. To this day I wonder if I really did win a raffle prize, or if manufacturing this was just a ruse and part of the hustle for Kirby. It was totally bizarre and unprofessional. I was left shaking my head for days. The whole thing was so humiliating and weird. I just spent $250 on the 1989 Batmobile Lego set. Arrived today. Part of me is excited to build it. However, the other side just thinks, what are you doing? You're a 27-year-old man spending money on Legos during a pandemic. But still excited to build tomorrow. Edit. Thanks everyone. I didn't know the Lego community was so genuinely nice and supportive. My answer really doesn't fit the question anymore, haha. I'm 34 and still keen for Lego. Don't feel shame for doing things you like. A sword cane with a snake head on it. The blade wasn't sharp, and I never used it. Just bought it to essentially look cool. Now I can't find it. Edit. As I read the comments, let me update. I bought it from a legitimate and legal magazine. I also bought it, not only because it looked cool, but because I wanted to look cool like Lucius Malfoy's wand cane. I didn't really care that there was a sword in it. Edit 2. Thanks for all the upvotes. I bought one of those when I was 16. Cane head was a dragon, but the same idea. I tried to sharpen it with my dad's electric grinder. Turns out the core of the thing was some cheap metal that couldn't hold an edge. So my dreams of stylish impromptu combat on the streets of Edwardian London were flushed down the crapper. At least with that sword cane. I suppose that when I eventually get around to inventing my time machine I could just buy one. When I get to 1904, I had to get rid of the thing because the clip holding the sword in the cane was weak. I used to like to twirl the sword around by the head, and the cane part would fly off. When you do that deliberately, to brandish your weapon like a badder, it's cool. When you're just ducking around, it makes you look like a spaz. And one time I was twirling it around by the cane part, not the handle, and the entire sword flew out and just missed cutting off my little brother's head. Which would have been really cool if it happened in a movie, but in real life it would have just made family gatherings even more awkward than they already are. I'd always be that guy who accidentally killed his little brother with a cheap mall ninja sword cane, and who wants that? I spent around $100 on pop figurines. Not the best idea for my savings that year. Edit. Wow, did not expect lots to have the same view. Thank you, strangers. Honestly, I don't understand the attraction of pop vinyl figures. Their giant cube head and small cube body painted to vaguely resemble character, like an Amy Ibo, for comparison, is actually made to look exactly like whatever character it is, so why would you get a pop figure? I just sunk around $7k in becoming a licensed marriage therapist. Had my job a little over a year and was just starting to get pretty solid when suddenly I can no longer touch people or be within 6 feet of them. At least I paid off my student loans in February. My sympathies. Perhaps you need to contact the person who bought that 16 feet net thing to turn off lights in their living room and see if you can't hack a 16-foot marriage machine. Just an idea. A Nigerian prince. Still waiting on him though. He can't leave his home because of COVID. One of my closest friends is a radical minimalist and a zero waster. She believes in owning as few things as possible and, as best as she is able, existing outside of consumer culture. She's crazy, but in a lovable way. Anyway, last summer, we lived together in New England, and she decides she needs a new wardrobe and wants to donate her current clothing to purchase 1 or 2 items of clothing she will wear. She wants something really clean and modest so she's not participating in fast fashion or supporting consumer culture. I figured she'd go for some thrifted simple blouse and skirt or slacks, but no. Oh no. She decided to spend upwards of $150 on a custom recreation of Mariah's habit from The Sound of Music. None of us thought it was a good idea. It was a black long sleeve dress, and it was regularly upwards of 90 degrees last summer. She does not heed our warnings, donates all of her other clothes. She's convinced this dress will change her life. This is what she needs to truly devote herself to the zero waste lifestyle. The dress arrives. She puts it on, and her face immediately crumbles. It fits, but it looks so stupid. It is obviously a costume, and is made out of this heavy fabric that is wildly impractical to wear. She can't return it because it's custom, and I'd like to reiterate, she donated all of her other clothes, but she's unwilling to wear it from the shame. She spends the rest of the summer wearing nothing but pajamas and borrowed clothes. Thankfully, she started growing out of that particular brand of insanity. She now owns like 5 outfits I think, but I don't think you'll ever see someone waste their money like that ever again. This is ducking glorious. My sides hurt, and my wife just asked me if I'm okay. Story of my grandmother. No offense to Christians. She spent big money for a tiny bottle of dirt. Apparently, Jesus stood on that dirt. That sounds like buying a bit of pavement, because some celebrity walked on it. A piano. Dumb, stupid, costly and near worthless. But the ex-wife wanted a real piano for the kids, because they would then practice on it. Bulches. $3,500 for the piano, $4,000 in lessons, all for teaching them to hate playing the piano. You were supposed to buy a used piano from someone who had already made the same mistake. Not me, but a distant relative and his wife, both in their 70s, sent a certain African prince several $1,000s to ensure a shipment of 45 kilograms of gold he was receiving. He promised to triple their money once he got it. He gave no reason to why specifically they were chosen for it. They didn't think it was a good idea to tell anyone else about this wonderful opportunity they were getting, as they were worried we would try to take their money from them or get a share of it. When the son of the deposed king of Nigeria emails you directly asking for help, you help his father and the freaking country. A $4,500 cryochiller that broke down after a month of use. The true loss here is your future as a delivery boy in the New York City of 3000. I bought like a $100 USD Raichu holographic / Japanese Team Rocket Pokemon card when I was maybe 8 to 10, using my allowance for it. I never played Pokemon, just collected the cards because they looked cool. I still get teased from my family 15 plus years later. A tank top that was supposed to make me look not fat. Is this the tank top you bought? I bought the hats and beards, and my buddy got the church warden pipes. We had monthly hats, beards, and pipes gatherings in Afghanistan. We were bored and would spend about $300 monthly on this chiz. First month was Gandalf, second was Lincoln. Cigarettes. I bought my first stick shift not knowing how to drive a stick shift. Good morning after I bought it, I tried to start it up and could not do so. I called the mechanic and he was going to charge $200. I told him that was fair, I have no idea what's going on. He got in, stepped on the clutch and started the car. He charged me $100. Secondly, I had an old breaker panel in my childhood home, one of the breakers tripped. I thought they fixed the problem and went to the panel to trip the breaker back, but nothing changed. I was also in a weird place in life and so really wasn't paying attention. But when the electrician showed up, he still charged $100 just pushing that breaker a little bit further than I did. My family visited Colorado when I was 10 and I saw a statue of a mosquito in a gift shop with the word "state bad" on the bottom and begged my parents for it. We now have a rather large mosquito statue on our piano. Paid like $10 for those tiny rubber hand things. Then you pay $100 for $10 minuscule rubber hands for each finger on the tiny rubber hands. And, if you're feeling particularly self-similar that day, you can invest another $1,000 and improve your fractal dimensionality with another tier. In elementary, a kid called me pale. So I went to Walmart and bought spray tan. My dad thought it was sunblock. My sister knew what it was, but didn't say anything cause she was just gonna sit back and watch how this plays out. I went in and out of the bathroom multiple times that day, continuously reapplying before my sister decided it was time to tell my dad. I went through half the can in a day and was more orange than a Oompa Loompa. But think of what that could have done for your future career. An ungodly amount of leak skins. We were so obsessed with such a chisty game. My buddy and I decided to saran wrap another friend's car shut. Mind you, this was 1999. Do you have any idea how much saran wrap $37 buys you in 1999? My buddy's parents are still using the leftovers to this day. Well, in 2011 it could get you more than enough for a minivan, so I can only imagine what it was like 12 years prior. Removed. I don't know why, but I bought a single cough drop and an empty pencil lead case from one of my friend for $5. Most people might see this and think bad sale, but I just can't help but think amazing salesman. Removed. I just bought 1 square foot in Scotland, so I can legally be called a lord. My dad did this for my granddad. When he passed, my dad became the laird. When my dad pees, he'll become the laird of that spit of land. To be honest, it's a pretty inexpensive and cool thing to have. And it helps protect land in Scotland from being developed or drilled, so it's a net gain all round. True story. I, an unemployed, completely broke part-time college student, had to pay $300 to my college for a class called computer literacy. In addition to this, and the coronavirus pandemic, I had to pay an additional $100 for an online service that replicates Microsoft Word. Even though I already have it, this class is necessary for me to take for me to get my degree. Now I know what you're thinking, everyone should know how to work a computer. This is a good thing. This is true, and I completely agree. However, if you were in grammar school anytime after the year 1994, you have already learned the $400 information my school is deeming necessary before 5th grade. This class highlighted topics including, and narrowly limited to, how to plug in a USB, how to use word art on Microsoft Word, how to insert a table into Microsoft Word, how to change font size and color. My final exam took me 15 minutes, and the aimment was to create a flyer with a colorful, centered word art title and a page border. Something I've known how to do since age 7 and have yet to use in the 14 years following this knowledge. In this day and age you can just Google how to use Microsoft. I definitely didn't have to pay $400 for this. TLDR. Thanks college for putting me $400 more into debt to teach me information I and my peers have known for almost 15 years. If this was a legitimate uni, this is when you go, have a sit down with the dean to explain why this course is unnecessary. Sometimes you get lucky and they revamp the catalog since someone wasn't doing their job. My Steam library, 80% unplayed. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.